Hello and welcome to another episode of the Executive Hub Show, the show that helps you grow your business with simple tips and strategies from successful entrepreneurs. This episode is brought to you by Persyo. Do you ever feel like you're throwing spaghetti at the wall with your marketing and hoping something sticks? That's where Persyo comes in. Persyo is your marketing strategy agency that builds custom plans so you're not guessing and you're growing. If you want to stop wasting time, check them out at www.persyo.com to get us started with your marketing strategy. My guest today is Chris Baxter. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you.
How was your day so far?
Great. A little cold, but great.
Well, it's a little chilly up here in Canada. That's what we get in winter, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's February, so.
Yep. As I said earlier, one day closer to golf season. So
Absolutely.
we'll get through it.
Absolutely. So let me do the proper introduction, gang, for Chris, and we're going to dive into a very interesting conversation about how Athletes United is changing the game in the mental health and wellness industry. So, Athletes United was established by Chris Baxter, who is a former professional hockey player who lived the high and low and trenches of the sports world. He furthered his skill set and graduated from Block University's business program with a BBA in general management. Years later, Mr. Baxter's noteworthy entrepreneurial success enhanced the Niagara region through two flourishing businesses. Chris, welcome again.
Thank you.
Tell us about I'm guessing you're in Niagara Falls.
I'm actually just a little west of Niagara Falls in a little town called Fawn Hill, which is a part of a place called Pelham, but not far from Niagara Falls.
Beauty. And what's it like out there today?
Actually, it's cold. The wind. It's stay indoor weather. So we just got a big snowfall over the weekend. So everybody's still cleaning up a little bit. Tough to find salt around here. Let's put it that way.
Interesting. Well, yeah. I mean, it's Canada, right? And it's February.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Chris, let's dive into it. What is your story?
Wow. My story really at a young age revolved around sport and mostly hockey. I was very fortunate to excel at hockey at a young age, going through the ranks locally, all the way up to major junior in the OHL. And along that journey, I incurred a lot of situations where subjected me to making poor decisions. And I guess, basically based on hockey and the environment, and it goes for a lot of sports, what you're put through and the challenges you face. I didn't handle it that well. And hence what I'm doing now. But I was fortunate to, be able to go on and play professionally in Europe, winning two major European championships, one in Great Britain and one in Austria, and retired at the age of 29. Didn't really, not too many injuries. I was pretty lucky on that end. Went back and got my degree. Started a family, had father of two great, amazing young boys, 16 and 18, Ethan and Christian. My oldest right now is studying Waterloo, nanotech engineering. I'm so proud of him. My younger, he's plugging away too. As we say, he's got some big shoes to fill with my oldest. But and then that brought me to Athletes United. So along that journey, I'm an entrepreneur by, through passion and building things. And I was able to create two businesses locally that have been successful. And about 4 years ago, I set out on this journey to build Athletes United to, provide a resource to individuals that are, navigating not only the sports world, but the world in general, by using former athletes that have already gone through it. There's so many athletes out there, and everybody always just hears about, the 1% or the 0.1% of them. But nobody ever really hears about all the rest of us. And we have so many stories that to tell, and so much experience where we can give back. And so that sort of ignited me to build Athletes United.
Love it. So, what inspired you to um, start Athletes United in the mental health world and what it does now?
Well, I going through, it's really easy to reflect when you've gone through it. And why I did it was because I do have a passion for helping people. And, instead of, the hands on, I'm going to help one person, one at a time. I truly believe that using an entrepreneurial approach, I could help thousands by creating something that nobody has. And I did my research. I went to Ball State University for my social work in sports, my post grad. And I went there to study more of the industry than actually learn about social work. And it gave me a really good macro evaluation of the industry itself. And I was able to turn around looking at it and using sports as the common denominator, apply it to a platform where we could use key characteristics of individuals that have gone through the ranks as athletes, to be able to give back to our youth. To, you know mental health is one thing, but there's circumstances that lead up to mental health and illness. And what we're trying to do here at Athletes United is sort of, you know try and eliminate the mental health and illness by going to our youth at a young age and providing guidance and assistance, and, hopefully escaping the buildup that can lead to such problems and issues that could lie ahead.
Beautiful. I love that. Mental health is a huge problem. I know in Canada, one in five people, which is about 20% of the population, experiences
Yeah,
some sort of mental health
yeah. And
issue.
it's funny because I've talked to hundreds of athletes across Canada, and every one of them has said to me, I wish this was around when we were growing up. And like, at one time I was the 1% of all athletes in Canada at one time, as everyone else on the platform was. And you look at it, and what I wanted to do with Athletes United was say, we're not here for the 1 or 2% of current athletes. We're here for the other 98%, because we already know that the 1 or 2% already get the resources they need from society, because there's somewhat of a dollar figure possibly attached to them. And so what we want to do is we take the worst kid on the soccer team to the best kid on the soccer team, no matter what level. And what our approach is to create a community-based sort of guidance and support network where you can be guided and assisted by actual athletes that have been there.
Got it. So I know you already touched on it, but who do you serve, and what does your platform do for them?
So basically, we're a team across Canada. Right now, we sit at 30 individuals, and we're growing constantly. And what we do is we have a two-tiered system. And the first tier is our mentorship. So our mentors are the ones that get into the daily lives of athletes. They guide them through situations such as, sticking points with coaches or sticking points with even their own parents, and just sort of navigate with them the life journey. And when that mentor runs into a situation where their qualifications, or we see that some red flags such as anxiety or depression or something like that, we have a second tier of psychotherapists, social workers, etc., with the same athletic background that can assist them. And so what that does is it allows us to stay in one hub. Whereas when it comes to mental health, everybody thinks that, wait a second here, mental health, you have a mental illness. Well, that's not the case, because everyone walking on this earth has mental health, just like physical health, right? It's just the stigma that has been placed on it. And so what we try and do here at Athletes United is say, hey, we've been there, we've done that. This is what could come down the road. But back to the concept. Our target market is between the ages of 10 and 24. And when you look at the math, because with every business, math tells the story. There's 7.8 million people in Canada in between those ages, and 78% of them, 77% of them play recreational sports. So you're looking at about 6 million, just over. I don't know the exact number, but it's just over 6 million. So I'm almost positive, when you say 1 in every 5, it just goes to show you the demand that we know is out there, but it's getting the resources to the individuals to say, hey, let's reach out. This is a really cool company to be involved in. And that's what we're trying to do is create a really cool company for people just to engage with people that have been there.
Very interesting. I love your target audience because I know, say, mental illness and mental health and suicide is a huge problem, say, in
Yeah.
teenagers alone. And what are do you happen to have any facts about what it's like for teenagers and kids in sports teams with respect to their mental health and what it's like?
What do you mean by facts? Like actual
So, for
statistics?
example, like I hear that in Canada, 20% of the population experience a mental illness of some sort in their
Yeah.
life. That number for entrepreneurs is about 70% because of the sheer amount of pressure that entrepreneurs get on their day to day,
Yeah.
activities. So, is there like a figure like that, or any other type of facts about kids in sports teams that it's like the number is it higher? Is it lower? Is it in between? Do
Oh,
we
it's
have any
very
facts
it's
about that?
it's very high, especially when you get to the college and university.
Hmm.
But again, too, talking to many people, and actually people that have gone to the universities, is the resource program that they have at the universities, is some of the universities is amazing. But again, too, those are the upper schools. And but where Athletes United comes in is what we want to be is the parents to look at, little Johnny or Susie that is 12 years old, that's on a local league team, and feels out of place because they're not the best on the team, or somebody that is shy because they're new into the city, that doesn't think that they're that good. We want to sort of be that staple for them, to say, give them that boost of confidence, but more importantly, positivity. If you really look at the old way coaches coached, and it's been going through, the higher ups for years now, with regards to the way coaches coach has changed dramatically. I remember growing up, like, you, I was called every name in the book, because I put a drop pass and somebody picked it up and went the other way. That doesn't work anymore. And, people just go into cocoons and they go off to the side and shield themselves from everybody. We want to open up and be positive, and the one that pats them on the back, and says you can do it. That's what we're here for.
I love what you guys are doing with. I'm guessing that bullying is an issue in the sports teams. I'm guessing name calling and or not making it. You're new to town, new to the team, and those are all beautiful. And I know you guys. You said you got coaches and mentorship. Tell us about a little bit how that's going to work with, say, the team. Say there's a soccer team in Calgary, and they get involved with your organization. What is the day to day is going to look like?
Well, the day to day is basically what we can offer the team, because it can come from an individual perspective or it can come from a team perspective. So, for example, if it comes from a team perspective, so the coaches might say, hey, we would like a life coach or a mentor to be involved in the team for the year. Okay, so there's packages that we have that you can purchase, and then that person is assigned to your team. Now, that person isn't there to coach. They're there to guide. They're there to guide with, off ice stuff, even on field stuff, involvement between players. It allows the coaches to coach. And what we do is handle all the other stuff. Those are our mentors. And then if situations escalate, then they can go to the care team up top. Now, if you want it, let's say, for example, the team didn't want it, but two individuals who were best friends on the team, their parents decided, hey, we want, Susie and Sarah to have a mentor for the season. You can do that also as well. And that mentor can therefore be the liaison between the coaches and the parents and the athlete, and the athlete and the coaches. So what we want to do is diffuse, any type of conflict between the player and the coach, or the parents and the coach, right around the circle. So that's ultimately what we can do. And the beauty of it is all of our athletes have been there, so they get the stress points of those situations.
Interesting. So how does your business model work? Is it the athlete that pays for it, or is it the team, or someone else?
Yes, right now the athlete pays for it, or the team can pay for it. So what you can do is you can the team can pay for it and pay for the packages, and then they can allocate those hours to individual players that need it. Or the parent can sign up and basically go at that. Now, over the last year or so, I've been really wanting to launch our sponsorship program, where I think I talked to you earlier about that, where we really want to engage the public with this. And what we've done is believe it's going to be May 1st. We're trying to roll it out sooner, but May 1st, we are going to have a program within the software on the platform where you can target a geographical area to donate funds through Athletes United to help those athletes in that area. So if you're an individual who's blessed with resources, or you're a family that's blessed with resources, a local business or corporation, or even the municipality itself, you can donate to Athletes United. That pool of fund will be strictly for the athletes in those associations for that geographical area. Or you could be like the Royal Bank, or large corporation automakers, where you can donate all through Canada, and they can therefore be segregated throughout. Now we will be very transparent with how the funds are allocated, and they will go obviously directly to the mentors and the practitioners.
Beautiful. Um, Chris, what's your goal and vision with this? What are you hoping to achieve?
It's funny because somebody asked me that, I don't know, a year and a half ago. And I always say the same thing is you can walk into any sports facility in the world and all the brand names you see are strictly have physical attributes. So you can see what you drink, what you wear, how you train, what equipment you use. Everything has a physical nature to it. There's no one brand name in the sports world where you can walk into a stadium and say, I can go get help. Or I can talk to somebody about my mental health, or I can get school help, because we also have an academic side. We'll be launching a financial side as well down the road. So what we want to do is we want to look at the holistic mental well-being that encompasses one's feeling, how they feel. And that's my true goal, is to be that one brand name.
Did you you played as a pro hockey player. Which team did you play for? For people that are
Well,
watching.
I started in Germany in the DEL in Rosenheim. Then I went to Austria in Villach. Actually, they just had something on the news about Villach the other day. So I was 2 years there, won a championship there. Then I moved to Great Britain for a year, down to the southern states for 2, back to Britain for a year, to Italy for a year. And then I finished off in Holland. So a lot of teams.
Very interesting. And then, so were there, I'm sure there been occasions where you dealt with mental health issues. Would you be open to share on what maybe you went
Absolutely.
through?
I think the biggest thing for me was when I was in major junior. I probably made a mistake that changed the course of my hockey career. I had a really good rookie year. And, I went back for my second year. I got, and they know who I'm talking about. I won't mention their names, but there was one individual my first year in the O that I got bullied, and it was bad, like really bad, where I'd go home and cry. And being a rookie, there really wasn't nothing to do, nothing I could do, and I didn't really see myself as a tough guy, and I'm very sensitive. But so I dealt with that for a year. And my second year, I couldn't understand why I wasn't, playing higher than I was, because I was playing half decent, and I had nobody to talk to. And I turned around and I cracked one day at school. I literally was standing there, and my teammate was right beside me, and I just looked at him. I said, I quit. And he looked at me and he's like, what? I said, I quit. And I got up, I called my coach. This is true story. I called my coach, and it was in Niagara Falls. I called my coach, and he said, okay, why? I said, I'm done. Okay. I got to the rink, not shitting, excuse my language, not even an hour later, and my stall was empty. There was a garbage bag with my stuff in it, and it was sitting at the door. That's how heartless it was. And I had nobody to talk to, and I cried for 2 days. And I knew I made a big error.
No.
So, that played with me for a long time, because I didn't have an outlet. And
You just didn't know any better.
And a lot of kids don't. We always hear about the success stories. Always. You always hear about the people that succeed, but I guarantee you there's 98% of them that don't. And You could in the game of
Oh
hockey,
yeah.
you could be. I've seen it where you could be pegged as the next great thing, and cut across the blue line. Somebody takes your leg out, and now you're nothing. You're done.
You're done.
You're absolutely done.
Especially like in the game of hockey where it's a tough and rough game, and I'm guessing that maybe you correct me if I'm wrong, the culture is just tough it out, rough it out, and just deal with it.
Yep. And there's always somebody to take your place. Always
Oh
somebody to
yeah,
take your
a lot
place.
of competition.
And they say you're only as good as your last game. And when you've done it since you're the age of, for me anyway, since the age of 8, and that's all you knew, and that's all you put your effort into, and then all of a sudden it's gone one day. You This is where you hear about those stories of guys, going off the deep end and not being able to transition into the new world. That's what Athletes United wants to be. And what we want to be is we want to bring all the sports together. So we don't care if it's water
Mm.
polo, we don't care if it's curling, we don't care what sport it is. We're here as all as one. And that's why Athletes United is Athletes United. So that's where, hockey's one, but there's other ones, basketball, tons, bobsledding, you name it. You think of athletes that go to the Olympics, and they train for 4 years, and just before the Olympics, they get hurt. Like, could you imagine how
Oh yeah.
devastating that is? Training for 4 years, and then you get hurt 1 month before. Yeah.
I was literally watching a pro athlete, a rock climber, talking about how the night before Olympics he tore a tendon or what's this thing here over his arm? What is this called?
Oh,
The thing that moves his finger.
I don't know. It's one thing I'm not good at.
Is this a
Yeah.
tendons or something? He just tore it. He hit a glass and he tore it the night
Oh,
before his Olympics. So he's like, I just taped it all together, glued it all together, and he came
wow.
second or third, and he easily had first place. And like think about like mental health.
Yeah. It's true, and that's another part is in sports there's always injuries. Everyone always gets injured, and it's how you deal with those injuries that can really play. Like our programmer that helped built Athletes United, Gus. The reason we hired him is because that he was a marathoner, and what happened one day is he passed out and didn't know what was wrong. Went to the doctor, and the doctor says you can't run anymore, Gus. And he's like, oh, great, more time to study. But what happened is a month later, he was like losing his mind because he needed that outlet. He
He
needed
needed
that
what again?
outlet of running in his life to satisfy that need, that adrenaline.
Did he like
No,
get
no, no.
cancer or something?
The doctor just said because of the condition that he had, I don't know what it was. It was lungs issue that he couldn't long distance
Oh,
run anymore. So
oh,
all of a sudden now that thing that he loved to do, there was nothing to replace it. And that's the
wow.
hard part of being an athlete is replacing it. That's why, you hear all the stories of people transitioning from sports to, the real world, and they can't replace that high, that adrenaline rush of being an athlete.
Absolutely. And I'm guessing, especially if you're playing with like in a pro level, and let's say you're Canadian playing, say for the Canadian team, and let's say you don't make it this time, next round is going to be 4 years
Yeah.
from now, and now you have to like train for another 4 years, keep up with your mental and physical health, and then be able to do that and come back. That's
Takes a
takes a
while.
lot of mental
Absolutely.
resources.
Absolutely. And you got to have something deep inside you to be able to get through that. It's not for everybody.
Oh yeah, and I'm guessing without support, it would be just extra, extra, extra
Yep.
hard to.
Yep.
I
Yep.
know. Hmm. Wow. This is. I'm getting a big bit, the full picture of what you're doing now with how important it is. As I've personally been involved with some mental health institutes. in Calgary. And obviously, as a person, as a dad, as a business owner, I know how important mental health is. And in the field of sports, I mean, without it, I mean, forget it. You really can't do much. Get Chris, with like keeping people's privacy, can you share like an example of a client you worked with and how you guys helped them?
Yeah, I know Mason worked with a young local kid here out of Niagara Falls where he had anxiety with soccer, and he, I believe, had some issues with regards to not calming down after the game, and Mason went in and helped him a bit understand. And I guess the what evolved according to the parents was absolutely amazing, and that's what we want to do, because whether it's before the game, after the game, even the night before a game, a lot can go through your head and can either accelerate your competitiveness or decelerate it.
Mm-hmm.
You can mentally, be more, in tune to playing, or you can actually take yourself right out of the game. And we all know that with hockey, for example, fear. I know for myself, when, lining up and somebody wants to put their fist through my face, like, okay, I'm out of the game now mentally, right? All I care about is not getting hurt and having this guy chase me around the ice. So, the mental part of sport is so big. It's much
Huge.
bigger. It's much bigger than the physical part. Much bigger.
Is
And,
it 50-50 or more?
oh
Or is it
no, no, I'm going to probably say it's 70-30.
70% mental?
Yeah, absolutely. And
Wow.
how I can prove that is I remember taking a stick out of, so we'd order sticks from the factory with our own brand, like our own name on them and stuff. And I remember taking two sticks out, and I held each stick up in my hand, cut them to the same size, taped them exactly the same way. And I, held them up and said, which one's lighter? Which one feels better? And I was like, oh, this one's better. So I went out, played with it. And this is a true story. Went out and played with it. I broke it in the third period. Now, all of a sudden, I'm like, oh no, I've got to go get my other stick, which is heavier. And I got my backup stick, which wasn't heavier, which was completely the same weight, same tape job and everything. But I mentally took myself out of the game when I didn't need to. Right. And mind over matter. And it's so true. You can be in the best physical shape of your life, but if you're not mentally there, forget it. And every athlete will tell you that.
Yeah. I mean, you can just be, like you said, be really good physically, but you can mentally paralyze yourself and you're done.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Or you
Wow.
physically could be not in great shape, but you mentally could be in great shape, but you're able to adapt because you're so competitive and so aware. You can overcome your physical deficiency
100%.
in the game by mentally overpowering it.
Wow. This is huge. Huge, huge, huge. What makes you guys different compared to the rest of the maybe organizations out there that maybe, or people that are focusing on mental health?
Well, mental health really, it comes down into like, so like you could be an individual psychiatrist, somebody that works out of an agency, or you can be a psychotherapist or a social worker, or you can work for a private practice in the government that's governmentally funded and stuff like that. There's nothing right now where you can actually just go on without a waiting list. You can find somebody to say, hey, oh yeah, I got an opening. I'm a psychotherapist. Great. But can you relate to that person that's in front of you? And that was my biggest thing when I built Athletes United, was because I remember seeing somebody when I was younger, and I remember looking at them saying, you have no idea what I'm going through because you haven't been there. And that's where everyone that works for Athletes United has to have played university competitively or higher. So then
All the
this,
coaches and mentors?
what's that? Sorry?
All the coaches and mentors on your team?
All the mentors, the psychotherapists, life coaches, social workers have to have played university competitively for the school or higher.
Wow.
Yeah.
Love it.
So
So
that
you could say, hey, I've been there before.
we've walked the walk. We know what. And the great thing is this is where we can go back to our youth and say, hey, my experience that I did that nobody knows me, right? Like, and I'm not talking about myself, but I'm talking about the other people in Athletes United. The rest of the world doesn't know that I'm a, an NCAA Division I gymnast. Nobody's ever heard of me before. But what we can do here at Athletes United is we can therefore take your experience, market it to the rest of the gymnastics world, and say, hey, this is somebody that's gone there and done that. If you need assistance, here we are, right? So we're basically monetizing the experience of all these athletes and putting them back into play for our youth.
Fantastic. So, Chris, just out of curiosity, are there enough people that have those qualifications to join your team around Canada?
I think we get about 9 to 10 applications a day to become a mentor, on Athletes United. Right now, we're just trying to build the talent. Like, nobody really knows of us, that the options are here. And so we're really trying to get going on understanding. And I believe the new sponsorship program will do that, that we're going to be rolling out. But everyone's, a lot of our mentors that we have in psychotherapists and social workers have other jobs as well. So this is something that, it's either part-time for them or it's after hours. They want to give back to our youth. And this is the important thing.
Very interesting. Very interesting. Huge problem. And I'm guessing you have put your fingers on a big problem to solve, and it will have a big impact. And I think it's just it's not just the sports world that it will impact. It will be outside their lives too. That these kids, it will impact their life in their work, careers, family, home.
Absolutely.
I mean, mental health. Mental
I
health.
always go back to, being like, I had great parents. I had amazing parents. They're still amazing. And, I never listened to them. What kid does, not many of us do listen to our parents. But I would have listened to somebody I respected outside that would have guided me in the right way. And I didn't have that one person. And I said to my dad, would you have paid $100 every 2 weeks to, have a mentor in my life to, sort of ground me? And he said, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a no-brainer. And, this is where, Athletes United, all came about is that a lot of times, a lot of people just want to be listened to. A lot of people just want a sounding board. They don't want to be told what to do. They just want to be heard. And this is what we're here. This is what we're here at Athletes United.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've been there myself where I'm going through something, and like after I break out of my shell and I talk to a buddy or someone, and they'll be like, "Oh, that's okay. I went through that too." And then I'm like, "Oh my god, I thought I was stupid and the only person in the world that's going through that shit right now, right?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "No, you're not alone. We all actually
do.
go
It's
through
all
that."
life.
And you're like, "Oh my god." That's like, and then I'm like, take a deep breath. I'm like, it's like feels like a mountain off my shoulder, but just say, "Oh, I've been there too."
Absolutely.
Like, serious?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Interesting. Chris, what are some of the milestones that you guys have achieved along the way with Athletes
The
United?
milestones were so new. We're absolutely so new.
Anything big or small since you guys started that
Well,
you've
launching the
achieved so far?
platform was huge. That was the biggest milestone,
Hmm.
was actually getting up and running. Like, I had been building it for 3 years, setting things in motion, understanding it. It takes a lot to build a business, and putting everything in place, getting the team to work, because ultimately we're a team here. Every decision that made is made by the development team. We have 5 across Canada, that work on building Athletes United. I'm the CEO and founder of it, but it's a collective effort here, with Athletes United. I'm going to say the milestone is being able to develop such a unique, um, uh, pool of individuals, in Athletes United right across Canada. We have great people that are here for the right reasons, and that's what I talk to everyone about when I first interview them, to come into Athletes United. Is you have to be here for the right reasons, and if you're not, that's okay. That's completely okay. But we're here to help people.
I love it. Are there other, say, A players like yourself on your team who are like pro
Oh
athletes who
yeah,
are out
well,
now out there trying to help and
yeah,
mentor?
absolutely. Our Carmel, she's out in BC. She played for Capilano basketball university, was an all-star, and same thing. And she's head of um, uh, the Alberta team. She was in box lacrosse. Sebastian's on in Manitoba. Reguer, he's one of our Olympic bobsledders that's going to the next Olympics. We've got myself. Laura Kay was NCAA gymnastics for Ohio State. She's out of Ottawa. Melanie was for Guelph University. She's was on the figure skating team. So everyone here, and they're all listed. A lot of baseball. I just can't. There's so many. I'm just thinking a development team, right? They're all doing their own thing. So if I missed anybody, sorry. But collectively, with the management team, we're trying to bring in really, people that really want to give back.
Okay, that's amazing. And so when someone, say, signs up to work with you guys, can they choose who they want to
Absolutely.
work with, or are
Yep.
they assigned, or a combination
Yeah,
of,
you
or
just
how
go
does
onto
that
the
work?
website and you can book a free 15-minute consultation with them, and you can talk for 15 minutes for free, and they can go through things with you. And I'm always available for email if you want to email me. I'm always up to talking to people. My email's on the website, but it's pretty straightforward. You can just book a consultation with them and go from there.
And speaking of that free consultation, where can people or their kids who
Yeah.
are watching go and claim that
Yeah,
15-minute
you just go
consultation?
to athletesunited.ca, and
Hmm.
it'll say services. There's the 2 services: the mentor service, and then the mental health services. The mentor services, it's got all our athletes there, and also with our mental health.
I got the link here. Give me 1 second. Let me actually post the link here so I can put it in the chat and hopefully someone may see it and go book a
Perfect.
call. You never know. I never know
Yeah,
who's
no,
watching.
absolutely.
I never know. So, gang, if you're watching or listening, go to athletesunited.ca if you're in Canada, and for your kids or for yourself, you're an athlete, soccer, basketball, hockey, you name it, go there. And there are people available to help you out. You get a 15-minute free consultation. Um, Chris, what have been some of the challenges that you guys have been facing so far while reaching
Um,
some of those milestones that you've been talking?
the biggest challenge is with a new startup is getting people to understand the value in your product. And because you're dealing with mental health and wellness, society is getting there, but it's not quite there. Everything's physically based still. So what we are is we're beginning a new journey for a new industry that has always been on the back burner and more been for government subsidy, where we're approaching it from a business perspective, and developing it in a way where teams can engage us. We're going to be rolling out new programs yearly with regards to, for example, if you're a team, you'll be able to book a yoga session for your team, or a Lego building session, or a cooking class for team bonding. All that will be done through the website in the future. So what we want to do is this is how we're trying to get the interaction from the athletes and the teams.
That's beautiful. If you say you had a magic wand for your business, where would you use it? What would you use it for right now?
Oh, wow, that's a great one. Magic wand. If I had a magic wand, I would want to be global, and I would want to be the first brand name to be recognized in the sports world for wellness. That would be my magic wand. And if given the statistics of the math in Canada, I would like to help 1 in every 5 kids, conservatively, at 6 million. You do the math, you're 1.25 million kids. Of those 6 million that we talked about, we believe that there is a need, and we're here to help.
I believe there's a need too. I mean, one of my kids was dealing with a bully in school, and I worked hard with him, and I stood behind him through that issue. And I mean, it's out there. There's bullying. There's all sorts of internal and external mental issues. Some of them you have control over. Some of them, like bullying, you don't have any control. Coach comes in and just he or she dresses you down and just belittles you and just kicks you out of the team. What are you going to do?
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And it's not in sports too. I always say, and this is so true, I always say, you never know what goes on in the car rides to and from the rink or the soccer field. And, those, I've heard horror stories where those car rides can be devastating. And, that's just the reality of it. And so this is where we come in to say, hey, we are an outlet for somebody to speak, to voice their concerns.
Love it. Love it. Love it. I absolutely love what you do and I have a personal interest in this because I've worked with some charities and a non-for-profits with mental health, and it's important to me because, I mean, without it, we can't really operate. So I love it. Do you read at all, Chris? Do you read books?
You know what? I don't read that often. What I do is I'm always creating.
Okay.
So it's hard for me to actually focus on one book and read, whereas I'm always thinking on how to build. So whether it's businesses, whether it's a renovation, whether it's a house, whether it's I love building businesses. That's my true passion. And that's where I always, instead of reading, I'm sitting how to develop something within AU where it's easier, more efficient. How's everybody feeling? How's the management team? All that kind of stuff.
Got it. Do you consume information in any other way, like podcast, video, or anything else?
No, I
Nope.
maybe no, not even podcasts that often. No,
You don't get on YouTube and go through videos and stuff.
I will, like, for information. Yes, yes and no. If I'm researching, CRMs or stuff to figure out the flow of stuff, I will definitely look up that kind of stuff. But no, I'm one of those guys that jumps in a pool just hoping there's water in it.
Beauty, beauty. Um, Chris, what's one advice that made a big impact on your life or business?
Oh, it's got to be my dad. Yeah, I went through some tough times over the years, and just the advice that he always gave me, I think that probably stuck out for me was, you're a fool in this world if you think everyone likes you. Um, and that was when I was younger, because I was, always wanted people to like me and this and that. And it changed how I would react or stuff like that. And just honestly, just being there in through my tough times, even of late, like last 4 years, I went through tough times, and for a short period, and he was there. He was there standing. He was a rock. So I guess it just isn't one thing, but just a collection of small things that add up, and that goes back to AU. We want to eliminate the big situations that can make mental illness. We want to be there to squash all the little ones so they don't add up.
Beautiful, beautiful. What advice do you have for kids out there who are playing in a team
Yep.
and he or she is having a tough time? What
You're
would you
not the
tell them?
only one. Everyone going through it thinks that they're only one because they're living in a micro sort of scenario. And my advice to them is, you know, everyone says reach out, but just type us in, talk to somebody that can, understand that we all can relate to you, that we all go through this, and this is just part of the journey of life. It's not just sports. It could come in another way of something else. It could be in the form of arts, whether you're an artist and you're competing, and in math you're competing. Like, it's just part of the journey of life, and we know what that journey is like. So you're not the only one, and will never only be the only one. People behind you will be going through it too.
Oh yeah, you're not the only one. I think, Chris, some of the maybe one of the things that people would be dealing with is they're ashamed of what they're going through and they wouldn't share it. I'm sure I've been there. I don't know if you've been experiencing that. Or like I'm going through something and I'm like, I'd be embarrassed to talk about it.
Absolutely. I I can I can honestly say that there is nothing embarrassing. You hear all the stories out there. There really is nothing embarrassing, and nobody's going to judge you. Everybody's worried that you're going to get judged, that it's going to blow up, and people are going to think this of you or that of you. It's not the case, and you have to really sort of look at yourself, and it's hard at a young age, right? It's hard to really sit back and say, think like an adult. You're a young mind, you're a sponge, and this is where we want to help. That we're there as friends, and friends that have the experience. If you feel like you can't talk about it, then you definitely need to talk about it, because it's definitely affecting you.
Absolutely. If I may add to that, um, every time I have a problem,
Yeah.
I kind of struggle with it for a bit, between a day or a month, or maybe even longer. And then I kind of pull my hair out, lose my sleep over it, lose my, a lot of stress. Maybe I get sick. And then finally, I come to my senses and realize that I have a support network of friends, family, buddies, and the rest of it that I could call and ask for advice. Then I pick up the phone and make a call or two. And within minutes, literally minutes, there is a solution to that problem that I was pulling my hair out for a month. And it's done. And then the only regret that I have is, why did I not make that call sooner? I could have saved a month of sleep and stress and all that. So, to your point, go out there, reach out for help. And these guys are out there to help you with mental health. You don't have anything to lose and everything to gain. I mean, yeah, you would say, here's a problem I have. They're not going to say, how stupid of you to say you have a problem like that.
Nobody's going to say that.
Nobody's going to. And I'm guessing you're going to hear, well, everybody here probably went through a similar problem before. Let me walk you through how to fix it.
You're not the first one that's gone through.
You're not the only one. You're not the only one. Chris, is there a question that if I asked that I didn't ask, and if I did ask, it would have added value to people that are watching or listening?
No, not really. To be honest with you, we just wanted to get the word out. Myself, as the CEO and founder, we're looking for other individuals to come in from the investment type, for capitalization. We really want to grow and get the word out there. So my message is if anybody, feels that they see some my vision, I should say our vision here at Athletes United with regards to our direction and our ambitions on what we want to accomplish, please reach out to me. I would love to have a conversation with you and see if our ideas align from what we're looking for here at Athletes United.
Fantastic. Speaking of reaching out, where can people find you?
You can reach out to me on my email. It's cbaxter@athletesu.ca. Or you can, my email's on the website. Also under my profile, you can send me a quick message, or you can friend me on Facebook. I'm on there as well. And LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. You can research me there. Be more than happy to answer your questions or any ideas you have. We'd love to go through them with you.
Beautiful. So, gang, reach out to Chris. Search for his name on LinkedIn. The website is athletesunited.ca.
Yep.
Is that right? Yeah, athletesunited.ca. You could get a 15-minute complimentary call to talk about your problems and have a chat with the team. And do reach out if you know a team that could help or benefit from getting mental health support. Get them in touch, and we'll go from there. Chris, this was a great conversation. Thank you for showing up. Mental health is a big deal, and I think you guys are doing something amazing and valuable. So
thank you.
Thank you again. Gang, you've been watching and listening to another episode of the Executive Hub Show. Your host, Mustafa Hosseini, with my guest, Chris Baxter. Hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you on our next episode. Bye now.